Hello, crypto world. Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. In this video, we're going to talk about Casper, what I believe it's doing. I'm going to follow up on my previous Casper video where I gave 3 different possibilities. I'm going to show you which one I believe Casper is doing. So let's dive in. Okay, so I'd like to go back to the very beginning of the Casper chart. This is pre-main kind of trading on Casper. It was traded on a very small scale. However, it is following this basic structure on today's chart. So just a brief overview of this chart. So there is a move up, which is actually a bull run. This structure is the same as this structure and this very large structure. These are the bull run structures. So it has a bull run, it then has a decline, it then has a sideways range-bound time. That is the essence of this chart. I divide it into smaller sections. It repeats all over again. Another bull run, another decline, and another sideways range-bound time. It repeats again. Another bull run. This one was very large, then declined and moved into what is commonly viewed as the beginning of the chart. This part of this decline is, and you can find that on TradingView. So this sideways range-bound time right here ends with a bounce. We see that here. We see that also over here on the second iteration of this structure. These green little boxes, well, this one's very little, this one's much larger, is the beginning of the bull run structure. So price moves up in a series of waves. So this is your first wave. This is how I have broken it down, at least. Wave 1, here's wave 2, and wave 3. Over here, it happened on such a small time frame, it's very hard to see. I'm going to zoom into this on a 5-minute candle. Okay, so here we are on a 5-minute candle. So here we have that first wave, the second wave, the third wave, which comes to a peak, and then it declines all the way back into wave 1 zone. It then has this area. It is my belief out of the 3 options, we are doing the first one. However, there is a caveat to that option. And by the way, you can go over here and view that video where I show the 3 different options. I'm not going to get into the other 2 options. I'm only going to focus on this one because it is my belief that we are doing this one. So essentially, we have completed this part right here. After this decline, it goes flat once it goes into wave 1 zone. And then there is this little nothing of a bump on this chart. But in today's chart, it has played out much differently. Let's jump over to current day and examine how this structure looks when compared to what today's chart is doing. Now, I'm going to match it for today's timing, height, and depth. Okay, so here we are on today's chart, and this is that first bull run structure. This bounce right here is the bounce that takes place, this one here and this one here, before the bull run. So it completes this bounce. It then begins to move up in wave 1, just as we see here. There, it moves up into wave 2, as we see here. Then moves up into wave 3, comes to a peak, and then declines and goes all the way down into wave 1 zone, and then it goes flat. Just as we see here, it moves up to a peak, it then declines, goes into wave 1 zone, and then goes flat. So if I was to take this entire structure right here, copy and paste it, and adjust it to today's timing, height, and depth, this is what it would look like. Now here's the caveat that I'm talking about. In my previous Casper video, I talked about the first possibility. However, it wasn't quite like this. This actually was much smaller than this. I was counting this flat part as this. But as this is played out, I realized, you know what? This is this at play, just on a much, much larger scale. So in my previous Casper video, option 1 included this right here, this move up right here. This area right here was not included. So the caveat is this whole area not that move up. So it's this area right here. So that is the caveat. I don't know why I didn't see it originally, but it is very clear now. It's not adjusted perfectly. There's still some slight timing differences, but for the most part, you see what it's doing. So price moves kind of flat and then angles down. Of course, this happened on a smaller scale over here, the time-wise go. And by the way, parts of a fractal can play out small on a small scale, and then the other part can play out on a large scale. That happens a lot when a structure repeats. So this part right here is this part right here. This, of course, played out on a much larger time frame. And then, of course, we have the decline, and we have this flat or landing part. Now, the way this has played out, there have been some dips here, but overall, you kind of see it winding down to a point, and for the most part, going flat. I've discussed in previous videos how a flat part in the fractal usually is represented by waves or bounces on the chart. It is my belief that once we complete this structure here, we will then move up into what would be this structure. Now, you know, I have been talking about the bull run since over here, or more likely over here, and honestly, I thought it would not follow this iteration. I thought it was going to do this iteration just because it is the more current version of a bull run structure. But nope, it did this one. This one is more horizontal, we can see here. And this one is much more vertical. Here's wave 1, here's wave 2, and here is wave 3. Wave 3 holds its ground. It doesn't come crashing all the way back down into wave 1 zone. We are very much following this one over here, right over here, step for step, really. Now, like I told you, some parts of the fractal can be larger than others. This has played out extremely large when compared to this structure, but it is doing the same basic thing. So it is my belief that we will soon, at some point, enter this structure here. We will have a pullback likely that will hopefully be similar to this. It will be above this peak, this pullback, and then it picks up even more steam and goes into the next corrective structure of the Casper bull run. So this one, like I pointed out in many of my videos, moves up fast, but then it turns around and crashes quite drastically. This is the theme. Eventually, it makes it through this and gets above it, but we have some turbulence. This one is probably going to scare people as well, just as this current decline has rattled people. People, this is the theme of the Casper bull run. Eventually, as time plays out, this picks up steam. It makes higher highs. Now, eventually, it won't be going horizontal like this the way it is now. We'll get more vertical movement. We just have to have patience. Now, for a little bonus content, this is Bitcoin. This decline, as you can see, it's in gray right here. Let me switch it to blue. Now, I could be wrong on this. This could possibly play out a little different, but as of now, it looks to be a match to this fractal, which would be this part right here of the 2021 bull run structure. So we have completed all of this. We are now potentially, we'll have to see how this develops, but it is my belief as of now, we are likely working on this. We have this part to go. Folks, this is a good candidate for a alt bull run. So it is my belief that we are moving into what could potentially, again, this is speculation, be a time where things pick up speed and come to life. Now, in my last Casper video, I also talked about this recent history structure. So if you were to take this structure right here, copy and paste it, and adjust it to the timing, height, and depth of today's chart, it would look something like this. Now, recent history many times offers really good fractals for a guide. The reason why is because recent history tends to repeat themes. And this theme from over here is being repeated over here. Let's zoom in. So here we are zoomed in. Now, I think I have this aligned the way it is. It could possibly be playing out on a larger scale. We'll have to see how that all kind of comes together. But if this is the way I think it is, we would start the move up soon. Now, it could continue on, so be prepared for something like that. Maybe we're only here. I don't know. But I think there is an argument to say that we could potentially be somewhere around here. So if this is the bottoming out part of the structure, then we would soon begin the next move, which would be the move up. Let's zoom out a little. So this next move up, notice how it starts off going at an angle and then it goes up aggressively. Well, that's kind of what this one does too. If we were to copy this fractal and paste it over here, it comes out at an angle. So it is my belief that recent history, which it has been following it pretty closely, is also hinting at this kind of same structure playing out that we see over here. So it would move up at an angle. Now, how that plays out, how much of an angle it is, it could just be a series of bounces and then it shoots up. We'll have to see how it actually materializes. But recent history and the fractal that Casper has been following, as of now, seem to both be hinting at the same possible move. So there you have it, folks. As you can see, Casper is going through the structure from over here. It's taking its time. Eventually, it will move up aggressively. How high that moves up, I'm not sure. We'll have to see how it plays out. This is a good test of this macro structure theory. So hold on to your hat, folks. There's good days ahead. This is not financial advice. If you did enjoy this video, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. And if you are not subscribed yet, but you like this type of TA, I recommend hitting that subscribe button. I'll continue to follow up on this chart as it continues to develop. I'm so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.